Hello and welcome to New World Review, where I do everything in my power to turn you to the dark side. Feel the darkness grow within you. Hold it. Hold that tiny ball of pure evil and let it grow. Yes, grow, my minion. Grow into the powerful being you are always meant to be. Hi, I'm Grand Line Waifu, here to discuss episodes 10 and 11 of Hunter x Hunter Heaven. A bit of housekeeping before we begin. I've heard feedback saying you want 3 episodes or more because they're mini arcs of suspense. If I were watching this as it came out, I would see each episode week by week. When I review, I watch one episode and write my thoughts before moving on. So what you're getting is a rolling review of my first thoughts on each individual episode. Yes, I could watch whole arcs before reviewing or chunks of episodes, but that would give you a different outcome in terms of my experience. On top of that, it gives me a chance to question whether I would want to keep watching if each individual episode were the last one I saw. It's a strange way of doing things, but it works for me in terms of the time I have in the week and the structure of the episodes. I do hear you though, and I'll keep thinking about it. I'm not going to change how I'm doing things right now, but we'll see. On the whole, you seem to be enjoying what I'm doing, so I'm still going, but feel free to let me know by making use of those handy dandy like and dislike buttons down below. Episode 10 had a particularly slow start, but built up to a wonderful climax. The sound design of this episode was particularly wonderful, so I'd like to dwell on it a little. The emptiness of the space giving way to a playful bopping bass sat really nicely underneath Leorio's rant and Kurapika's stillness. The measured nature of Kurapika's decision was echoed in the measured rhythm, while the jazzy piano, double bass, and synth tones brought levity to Leorio's increasingly panicked voice and large movements. I very much hope that what we're hearing here is Leorio's theme, because it would be so appropriate with his tiny glasses and open shirt giving us that relaxed feel of improvised passion. Just to divert for a second, but it's taken me this long to realize that Leorio is slowly becoming less and less corporate. Episode 1 Leorio had a full suit and tie combo. While I'm fully aware that he couldn't really have maintained that look through everything that's happening, it's interesting to see that as he is put through his paces and his personality and goals are tested, he is loosening up. By necessity, he's being forced to let go of the formality of a doctor and take on the readiness of a medic, and that's a great shift to see. Because I'm that kind of nerd, it's fitting then that jazz would become the style of his theme. Jazz, in my mind, is what happens when classical music is too constrained for the musician. To play good jazz, you need to know the rules of music before you deliberately break them. Leorio is learning that the rules of the exam are different to the rules he grew up with, and this episode is very much him taking those rules on board and using them to his advantage. It's the first time we really see, despite his big movements and huge emotions, just how smart Leorio is, and I appreciated that. I found Tonpa's interest in Leorio's behavior and his analysis a little heavy-handed. Yes, it's important for us as an audience to understand explicitly what's happening, but it's another one of those moments where they're telling rather than showing what's happening. I would have enjoyed it more if Tonpa had described what was happening as it happened, rather than a large, fairly bland monologue. The dialogue had a distinct teaching feel to it, and I'm slowly coming to expect more than I'm being given. The jump from musical style to musical style and the jumps from bright, colourful art palette to palette felt more like something designed to hold our interest while we were just fed information. Ultimately, what Tonpa was saying didn't need to be so long. It was a filler. I do wonder now whether it was deliberate filler rather than trying to more creatively take us from emotional state to emotional state, because the effect was that I went from amused to bored remarkably quickly before being caught up in forward momentum of the next narrative beat. Speaking of that next narrative beat, Hisoka's Hunter returned for a passionate reckoning. The art style, the use of time, the combination of movement and stillness all come together seamlessly in this scene in a move I hope we see more of. It was filmic in its energy, with the passionate claps of the flamenco betraying the control Hisoka carries, and the enjoyment he seemed to experience in combat with someone almost worthy of him. The great thing about this scene is that we saw entirely why Hisoka should be a hunter, but it also showed us why he should not. By the end of this scene, the fact that he was alone made me acutely aware that he would have failed the exam if he had been required to go through the majority rules methodology. He's not a team player. I don't think he wants to be. I don't think he needs to be. It's very interesting though that the group got Tonpa, who needs social groups to thrive, and not Hisoka, who very much couldn't deal with them. Regardless, energetically, Hisoka's scene gives us a nice break from the boredom of Tonpa's thoughts telling us things we could see instead. If that was the intention, I don't think it was worth it, but I've already discussed that, so I'm not going back over it. Leorio brought some major energy to the end of this episode, and for the first time I legitimately held my breath waiting to see what he would do and how the others would react. His reasoning through of the problem and his way of dealing with it were inspired, and I loved the way Majitani reacted to the situation too. I wasn't sure when we first found out that he was simply unconscious whether I wanted to be inside his mind with him. The further through the episode we got, the more grateful I was that we were. Overall, it was a well-crafted episode with great play on word, deed, and thought. On to episode 11. Oh, Leorio. We knew you were a teenager. Now we know you're a teenager. Greek drama has a way of giving us enough imagery that we can visualize what happened rather than seeing it. The idea is that whatever we imagine is more powerful than anything that could be described. So allow me to say, ew, 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 ew. I'm not going any further into that than this. Ew. Oh, this is probably also the time for me to say that what I'm watching is the subbed version of the show. I get the full voices of the originating actors, which is fantastic. But the reason I say this is because I physically cringed at the use of the word tranny in this episode. It's the only time I've questioned how well the show has aged. Hopefully that won't be a regular thing. Moving quickly away from this awkward moment, I'm starting to really feel the pattern of the episodes. The first half is the quiet, relatively boring half, and the second is the reveal. The good thing about this is that I get to wind back into the episode and get re-engaged, but the difficult part is that I spend the first half of each episode just waiting to get to the good bit. I'm finding I would appreciate the story more if there were more morsels of deeper content in the front half of episodes. I'm distractible. And while it's nice having cliffhangers at the ends of episodes, I feel like they could probably pack more into the front than they do. It's more about trimming the fat than anything else. That said, I enjoyed going into their minds. It was fun, and we saw a musical return to Leorio's passionate jazz theme. However, that scene felt more drawn out than it needed to be. So I'm not going to draw this out anymore. Getting to the second half of the episode was great because we got to see Killua at work. Or at least we returned to the Greek theatre version of seeing Killua at work. The intention is that we never see Killua kill. He's so fast and so clean that it's as though the job is simply done. The structure of the episode with our strongman, Jonas, did I say that right? Jonas, Jonas. The structure of the episode with our strongman, Jonas, was a setup to show how lethal Killua is. And this is a good episode of why I look at each episode individually, actually. If we took this as part of the whole, it becomes almost annoying because we as an audience already know enough about Killua to know he's lethal. This entire scene is for the other characters to get introduced to that fact that Killua comes from a family of assassins. However, as a stepping off point, if you wanted to introduce a new person to the series, here would probably be a good point. You get the absurdity of the series in Leorio's challenge, then the seriousness of it in Killua's. No one should ever think Killua is actually in danger in this episode, not after what we've seen him do. If the head of the exam could almost fall prey to Killua, Jonas never stood a chance. To think otherwise is to be naive. Like Hisoka, Killua could just walk through this. That said, Hisoka showed a flaw in the previous episode. He got cut. Killua didn't experience any difficulty at all. In fact, at this point, Killua's the only one I think could genuinely become a hunter all by himself. He's cool, calm, sort of, collected, capable, childlike, with curiosity and a lot of other C words, I'm sure. I'm ready to see a showdown between Hisoka and Killua, I realize. I expect one. I expect Killua to step in, not because he's angry with Hisoka, but because he's bored enough to fight the card-carrying clown. Lots of C words today. Back to the episode at hand, and it's interesting to hear Jonas's desire to touch human flesh. I highly doubt Killua is human at all, but he looks so adorable that it almost doesn't matter. The man never touches human flesh again, except his own. The calmness of both characters is beautiful and very clean in that moment. The way Killua's abilities are characterized is quite beautiful and graceful, as is the way he holds the bag of heart. Giving the moment of death to the heart and letting Jonas see his own death is one of the great moments of the episode. It reminds me of Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star's "You're already dead," except he gets to see his own death. Briefly comparing those, it's an evolution of the form, and a beautiful one at that. Rather than have the big talk continue, not only does he realize what has happened to him, but the delicate, almost feminine way Killua holds the bag is the exact opposite to the beefy, masculine way we would expect a scene like that to resolve. If anything, Killua almost manages to be more seductive in this scene, in a really odd, creepy way than Larute managed to be. Of course, the intention in that case was to be comically seductive. I'm not talking about sexual seduction so much as a form of taunting in Killwa's case. While Larute steals Leorio's heart with her looks, Killwa literally steals Jonas's heart, and that imagery is not lost on me. The difference there is that Killwa returns it, eventually. Oh, and luckily Majitani was alive, but I highly doubt he is now, so for a second time, because I don't think Jonas is really worth it, a moment for Majitani. Liam, roll the Majitani memorial video. Having shown respect to the important characters we've lost along the way, that's it from me. If you enjoyed this video and the content this channel produces in general, please do consider donating to the New World Review Patreon, because the support of all you amazing people is what continues to make this channel possible. If Patreon isn't quite your style, then please do leave this video a like, share, or subscribe, because it also helps support this channel an incredible amount. And if you'd like to join the fun, then please do head over to the Discord server where a wide array of shenaniganry takes place on a daily basis. And finally, please do comment with your thoughts on episodes 10 and 11 of Hunter x Hunter. This has been the New World Review, and I'll see you next time. Dun bum 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 bum. Dun bum 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 bum.